At the start of the season, you would have expected this Wake Forest team to be a solid, middle-of-the-road ACC squad. However, after its defeat to bottom-of-the-table Boston College, the Demon Deacons' place in the ACC tournament isn't set in stone. Sophomore Duke Harris continues to shine with 21 points per game, but the rest of the roster hasn't been up to mustard. The same can be said, though, for Syracuse. In the last few weeks of the season, it's been a rough watch with this group of talented players that have just lost their venom since the start of conference play. Coach Autry must squeeze that last bit of juice from this team or risk the Demon Deacons jumping ahead of the Cuse in the standings. It's live on Cuse Countdown, and it starts right now. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome inside our CitrusTV studios. We're live on Cuse Countdown. Nicholas Waley alongside John Boccio and Adam Hipsky to get you ready for this game between Syracuse and Wake Forest, which, yes, is towards the bottom of the ACC standings, but it could be quite pivotal because a Wake Forest win would mean that they would jump ahead of Syracuse on head-to-head in the standings. But we should focus on Cuse first. Just came off of another defeat to another North Carolina team, UNC, last time out in the Dome. And John, where did it all go wrong for Syracuse?
Well, it all went wrong in the second half. UNC would go on these short little runs that would just get louder and louder and louder as the game went along. This game was tied at 44 in the second half, and then all of a sudden, UNC starts firing on all cylinders, and that breakdown of playing a full 30 but not a full 40 minutes was really what went wrong for Syracuse.
Well, we'll touch on Syracuse and go through all of their struggles and all of their weaknesses. But I look on the UNC side, no Caleb Wilson, a future top 5 pick, and you let Vesar shoot 9 for 13 from the floor. It can't happen if you're Syracuse when UNC doesn't have its top scoring option, its top rebounding option, its top defender. It just can't happen. You can't allow UNC to get exactly what they want. And obviously we'll break down Syracuse's struggles, but J.J. Starling, the only one with more than 10 points. It's not a recipe for success.
It's just been an overall disappointment in the month of February. I mean, now 2 straight defeats. We got a little bit of hope with SMU and Cal, but then you look at UNC as well at the beginning of the month. It's just been bad.
Oh, absolutely. There has been nothing that's gone right in this month, and I think this is what's really solidified everyone to say, all right, it's definitely over. January, people were already kind of doubting what was going on in this program, but right now, all hope is just lost, and it's done.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because that Cal and SMU were 2 home games, so Syracuse has really struggled away from the Dome.
Yeah, and away from the Dome, Syracuse playing its 3rd North Carolina team in a row. They've gone back and forth, but particularly in the last 2 games, rebounding has been just an overall concern. I mean, Adam, in a lot of ways, that Syracuse wasn't expected to be a good rebounding team, but it should have been better than this.
I agree, and I think it starts in the backcourt because Syracuse, you mentioned it, probably not expected to be a good rebounding team when you look at the length that they have in the backcourt with Nate George, Nate Kings, and J.J. Starling. Not guys that you expect to rebound above average from their position. However, John, when you're getting 7 combined rebounds against a UNC backcourt that also isn't particularly big, that's an issue. So yes, I agree with you, Nick, that Syracuse hasn't rebounded well, but I still think they should have been better at cleaning the glass than what they have been so far this year.
Oh, without a doubt. And Syracuse now has fallen to bottom 50 in opponent rebounds per game. It's not only not getting rebounds for themselves, but it is giving up such easy numbers on the glass. And we see it on your screen now. Syracuse just 35 rebounds per game is never going to cut it. And Wake Forest at 33 is last in the ACC. A 2 rebound difference is, yeah, definitely something to scoff at when it comes to how good this Syracuse team really is at rebounding, which, spoiler alert, it's pretty god-awful.
Yeah, SU in that game against North Carolina, from its bench, they went 9 deep in this game. 4 guys combined for 6 rebounds, and Sadiq White was 5 of the 6. If you're going to play 9 deep, you have to get contributions from your bench. Against the Tar Heels, it was all Donnie Freeman and all William Kyle. You have to have a better collective effort.
The only bench contribution they have is just maybe a point or 2 here and there.
Exactly.
Yeah, SU have been out-rebounded the last 3 games in a row. We'll see if that will be different tonight. But also on offense, three-point shooting has been extremely inconsistent, and it was really not good against the Tar Heels, John. Syracuse shot just 17% from three against UNC. I mean, but we've seen sparks of good three-point shooting, though, from this team.
Yeah, absolutely. It comes down to really how well Nate Kings is going to play for you, because a lot of the time when he catches fire, that's when the Syracuse team gets a lot of its three-point production. But without that, and without Donnie Freeman knocking down his open looks, there's almost no time for Syracuse to even think about hitting threes. 0 for 11 the starting lineup was against number 18 North Carolina. It is abysmal from beyond the arc, and we've seen it all season long. Head coach Adrian Autry said at the beginning of this year that this team is not going to be one that shoots a ton of threes, and well, he's right, and they can't hit them either when they do take them.
Well, absolutely. And John, we talked about the starters going 0 for 11. I think we can all agree that that number sounds poor. I think we can all agree that 3 for 17 sounds poor. But Tyler Betsy was 3 for 5 in this game. He knocked down 60% of his triples. If there's no Tyler Betsy, that 17% turns into 0%, and that's an issue. When you're that reliant on Nate Kings to be that sharpshooter that provides your sole source of three-point offense, it's an issue.
I mean, Tyler Betsy, I feel like, has been that biggest question mark of why has he not been playing more, and especially when Syracuse's guard play just has also been so inconsistent. I mean, Adam, you've got JJ Starling, who was the only player in double digits against UNC, and then Nate George, who had a few bright sparks in the last 5 or 6 games, but against the two North Carolina teams of late, again, just struggling.
Yeah, well, they're rattled by the length of opposing backcourts, and that's what they can't do today. You have to be able to move the ball, get it out of the passing lanes, and when Wake Forest is at its best defensively, it's when they get into the passing lanes and deflect. They lead the ACC in steals per game for a reason. The instincts on the defensive side are very, very strong. So I think for Syracuse, the difference is Nate George can't play scared because he's a strong point guard when he's willing to put it on the deck and willing to get it to his guys. But when he faces a guy of equivalent caliber, it seems like he strays away from attacking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been all over the place when it comes to this guard play. We've seen Nate George be a turnover machine at certain points, and he was a guy coming into this season that everybody expected to be this incredible ball distributor and the primary ball handler at that. Well, not only can he not assist for his other players, it's not like JJ Starling has really stepped up in his place.
Absolutely. I think in a lot of ways that this guard play we want to see more from him. And just to break it down a little bit more, Adam Hipsky's at the wall.
For Syracuse, we talked about it. It's when they move the ball, they're at their best. So let's take a look at a play from earlier this season from the Orange. And they've got plenty of viable sources of offense in their backcourt. You have Kai and Anthony, a guy that comes off the bench. Nate King's here. Let's roll it with Donnie Freeman down low. Kick out, move the ball, set up Kings, let him step into a three-point shot. That's when Nate Kings is at his best. We've talked about the sharpshooter tendencies that he can have, but you have to put him in a position to be successful. Only 2 attempts against the Tar Heels right there when Syracuse moves the ball. If they can get the Demon Deacons to move and play a little bit off balance, I think that's when Syracuse is at its best. I think that's when Nate Kings can knock down shots. That's what the Orange need to do tonight.
And I think in a lot of ways as well, another aspect of just poor guard play is without having Donnie Freeman be at his best. And I think as well, because we expect so much from Donnie and still leads the team in scoring, but last 2 games, just 9 points against Duke and UNC. That's been an issue, John.
Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt, it's been an issue, and we've seen it on a multitude of occasions from a lot of these different guys. Just if guards cannot start hitting their open shots, that is where this team's downfall becomes, and especially when they're not handing it out well, then it just becomes an even larger issue. It's a snowball effect. Every single game, when one player's not playing well, nobody is.
No, yeah, that's absolutely right. I think Syracuse, if you can get inside, make the defense collapse, you can kick it out. They've got guys that can shoot. They can spread the floor when they're at their best. But I think it starts with getting inside, not being afraid to put it on the deck.
Yeah, Donnie Freeman is a guy that we went into the year, he could even be a fringe first-round pick in the NBA draft. I mean, at this point, is he even an NBA level guy?
That's the question that's on everyone's mind, and I think it's pretty clear that he's not going to get drafted at this point. William Kyle is likely the only guy that will get drafted on this team, and even that is somewhat of a stretch for Syracuse.
Well, yeah, and I look at that North Carolina game with no Caleb Wilson. When UNC loses its best interior defender, how does Donnie Freeman get that? How does he disappear that much? 0 for 3 from outside, 0 assists. So even when your scoring's not going, you can't get it anywhere else.
And I think we should see a good opportunity now for Wake Forest, against Wake Forest, for Donnie Freeman, a team that really doesn't have really good rebounding. And for more on that, John Boccio is at the wall.
Hey, thanks, guys. Let's run you down the board of Donnie Freeman's season. So this one has been pretty interesting so far. You started out his first game back after injury against Clemson, 18 points. And then, whoa, what's this big spike over here? That's Georgia Tech, where he had 27. Let's show you the tape of what happened in that game for Donnie Freeman. This is the easiest play that Donnie is ever going to get. And it all starts right here. Nate King's coming in, and let's roll the tape. Donnie Freeman will come around, actually moves off the ball, beats his man off the dribble, and has an easy lane to the cup for 2. That is the type of stuff that Donnie Freeman loves and succeeds with. And if he's not going to be doing that, moving off the ball, driving inside, using his size to his advantage, well, then that's where it all comes crashing down, especially in a game like Duke. We'll show you this one as well, where it gets pretty rough. Just 9 points on the game, and now let's roll it here. We're going to pause it in a moment. Here we go right there. So Donnie Freeman has already beat Boozer off the dribble. He's gotten to his left side, but what a lot of people have come to realize with Donnie Freeman is that, well, his left side really isn't his best. So we'll replay it again. Cam Boozer off the dribble, doesn't even commit to the right hand. His twin other Boozer comes in, gets the steal, and it leads to a dunk on the other end. So people have realized that it's so easy that Donnie Freeman just cannot move to his left side. So in that play, Cam Boozer just sticks right to his right because he knows that Donnie Freeman's just going to end up going right back to it. So this is why Donnie Freeman has really come crashing down so far this season, but hey, we'll see if that changes at all against Wake Forest today. But on the other side, we've got even more for you heading down to Winston-Salem with our reporter Gino Antimarino for some extra coverage of Syracuse and Wake Forest.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, welcome back inside our CitrusTV studios, live on Cuse Countdown. Nicholas Waley alongside John Boccio and Adam Hipsky. We're now going to be joined by a fourth member of our crew who's down in North Carolina in Winston-Salem. Good friend of ours, Gino Antimarino. Gino, thank you so much for joining us. My question for you is, how important really is this game for Syracuse? Because if Wake Forest wins, they could jump ahead of the Orange.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, it kind of depends on what side you want me to answer. If you want the Gino Antimarino working for CitrusTV, then yeah, the game is obviously very important. Every game is very important. You should tune in to all of our coverage on social media and on YouTube. But if you're asking from a basketball side of things, is this game important for Syracuse? Not really. I mean, listen, let's be honest. Yeah, Syracuse could slide in the ACC tournament, but they're making the ACC tournament, and for this squad, they'll certainly take it. The Orange, they know their fate, and they know that they're probably going to win 1, maybe 2 games at best in the ACC tournament, regardless of where they sort of fall in terms of the seeding. So you got this game on the road against Wake Forest. You turn around, you play a ranked Louisville on the road. not the best look for Syracuse, and then you finish with a home game against Pittsburgh. So Syracuse can certainly make something happen, but at the end of the day, the Orange, they're not going to move out of the ACC tournament. They still have to go through the kind of the what I'm looking for, the dog days in terms of the trenches of the tournament if they want to make a run.
Yeah, absolutely, Gino. What a lot of happened was when Syracuse was playing well and when things were going right was Donnie Freeman was right on track. So I want to ask, he struggled in recent games, had 5 against Virginia a couple weeks ago, 9 in the last 2 games each. So what does it take for Donnie Freeman to get back on track here, Gino?
John, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, this is a guy that seems to ride the highs with Syracuse and ride the lows. The biggest thing for Donnie Freeman is he's got to manage his emotions. Now, if he wants my personal opinion, I'll give it to you guys. Listen, I came off the plane here in Winston-Salem. Nice, sunny, beautiful, warm day. I've got a belly full of brisket from a local barbecue place. Someone could punch me in the face and I'm not losing my cool, okay? Everything's going great. But in all seriousness, for Donnie Freeman, he's got to make sure he's staying cool, calm, and collected. I know the role he's coming into this season with, right? Sophomore, highest rated recruit since Carmelo Anthony. He's supposed to be the guy that brings Syracuse back to March Madness. And let's be honest, this is an Orange team that has really underperformed this year. And a lot of the blame kind of falls on Donnie Freeman for being the star player. So he's really feeling that frustration. And most recently, you brought up in the most recent performances, he's had double digits in points in just 2 of his last 5 games. And he hit his absolute pinnacle in terms of frustration in the latest game against North Carolina. 2 technical fouls, got ejected. He ripped his jersey on his way to the locker room. Also an abysmal game, too. Just 9 points, 0 for 2 from the field in the first half. Coach Autry just kind of chalked it up after the game as, yeah, Donnie Freeman got lost with his frustration. But at the end of the day, Donnie Freeman's got to make sure he's staying out of his head and letting it all perform on the court.
Dissect this Syracuse team, there's a lot of areas where you can say that things have gone poorly, but one that's really stuck out to me has been Syracuse's struggles on the road. The Orange haven't won in enemy territory since January 10th. What do they need to do in Winston-Salem to pick up a victory?
Yeah, Syracuse needs to be consistent, and they have to play with cohesion, right? This is a team that, coming into today's game, is sort of running this ISO ball, this hero ball. One guy steps up, everyone else kind of retreats and falls back. One of the coaches for Syracuse, Alan Griffin, said he felt the last time Syracuse played a complete game was against Notre Dame. Guys, that was a month ago. Syracuse has to make sure that they are getting back into that cohesive brand of basketball. And you heard Adrian Autry say it time and time again this season. They have to play a full 40 minutes. And it's only elevated and more emphasized when you're on the road because this is a team that's got the home crowd on their back. They're feeling it. And Syracuse has to make sure when they're going on the road, they are bringing that extra level of intensity because it will surely be met by the home team.
No, thank you so much, my friend. We'll catch up with you a little later on OPP. Well, when we come back, we'll get to talk about the Demon Deacons because we've already talked a little bit. Their rebounding hasn't been great, but they have one of the best scorers in the ACC. So when we come back, we'll talk all we have for Wake Forest. Lots to come. Still live on CC.
They took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back inside our Citrus TV studios. Nicholas Waley, John Boccio, and Adam Hipsky with you live on CC. It's time to talk about the Demon Deacons, Syracuse opponent tonight. And they have one of the best scorers in the ACC and arguably the country at the moment. He's been phenomenal. Duke Harris. John, what makes him so special?
Well, it's his pure scoring ability. 21 points per game. That's top 15 in the nation. And never mind that, he's also doing it on incredible efficiency. 46% from the field is something that is unheard of for guards in college basketball. And that's exactly what Duke Harris has emphasized throughout his time at Wake Forest. Last year to this year, a massive jump for him. And that is because of his efficiency on the ball. He's an incredible scorer. He's elusive, athletic, can get to the cup, shoot from outside. There's a lot that Duke Harris can do and not a lot that he can't.
Well, absolutely. And Duke Harris, talk about an ACC build. 6'7", 200 pounds. He doesn't look, and he certainly doesn't play like a guy in just his second year of college basketball. He's played 34 or more minutes in each of his last 7 games. Such a luxury for Steve Forbes to have a guy that you can trust out there, that you know you're going to get 20-plus points per game, and he only needs to sit 5 or fewer minutes. And talk about the luxury for Steve Forbes. How about the matchup nightmare that he can put on opposing defenses? You mentioned it, a 3-level score. When he can put it on the deck, he's really, really good, but he can also shoot it from outside, 6 for 12 in his last game. I mean, talk about a head coach's dream. That's exactly what Duke Harris is.
And Coach Forbes has needed his scoring in a big way throughout the season because the defense has just been so poor. The Demon Deacons are giving up about 79 points per game, and Adam, that's just unsustainable in the ACC.
Well, absolutely. When you allow nearly 80 points per game, there's a reason why Wake Forest has lost so many games as of late, and that's because the defense has really, really struggled. But when I look at where this Demon Deacons defense really comes up short, it's when opposing teams move the ball and get them out of their gaps, when they make them overcorrect and play better help side defense. Syracuse can take advantage today by reversing course, getting it to the weak side. Wake allows over 15 assists per game. That's the most in the ACC. So this defense, while it's extremely vulnerable, I think its biggest hole is when teams move the ball because they rank atop the conference in steals per game, so they're very active defensively. It's just, can they play better help defense and play in the gaps when asked?
Yeah, absolutely. And help defense has certainly been an issue, and you see it in their own the opposing field goal percentage. They're allowing opponents to shoot almost 45% from the field. That's because of how many open looks people are seeing off the ball, and it's really punished Wake in certain games, and especially recently where they've given up 80-plus in 5 of the last 10. I mean, that is unacceptable for a season.
Absolutely. It's very hard when you're a Wake Forest defense and you might be a little undersized and you might not have the length that other teams do. But, yeah, absolutely. I think Syracuse, there are places where it can take advantage. And
a part of that just lack of size and lack of length is, as a result, the worst rebounding team in the ACC, ranked at the moment 297th in the country. John, just how bad has the rebounding been for this Wake Forest team?
297, really bad. That's basically as much as I could say. Dead last in the ACC, as you mentioned, Nick. And it's frustrating for Wake Forest because this is a team that has so much upside and a lot of great talent, but on the glass, it just hasn't been getting it done so far. When you don't even allow that many rebounds per game, but oh my, do you not grab a lot either. Just 33 a night is absurd, and they just haven't boxed out when they needed to. It's a classic cliche of the only way that you're going to get rebounds is by doing the classic coach type things where you box out, you constantly are on the glass and getting physical down low, and that's just not what Wake Forest has done.
Well, when you look at the bigs on Wake Forest, Trayvon Spillers, who's a guy that, we'll break down soon, but when that's your top rebounding guy and he's only 6'7", maybe 6'8", it's hard to out-rebound teams. Syracuse, we've talked about, they struggle rebounding in the backcourt and with their guards. Wake Forest, it's the opposite. It's their front court where they really come up short, cleaning the glass.
Well, that battle in the paint is going to be a fascinating one today. Two of the really poor rebounding teams in the ACC. We've got William Cowell III, who's looked excellent for Syracuse, against Trayvon Spillers, and those two are our marquee matchup here this week.
Marquee matchup time, Syracuse and Wake Forest. We've talked a lot about the guards, but let's switch focus to our forwards with William Kyle and Trayvon Spiller. Two guys that can defend really well. John, William Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Kyle's probably easily got this matchup here between him and Spiller, and that's because he can do a little bit of everything. We'll show you a multitude of clips. The first one here is going to be him doing it on the offensive end. He comes in, sets a hard screen. Here, we'll roll it. J.J. Starling has it. Kyle sets a hard pick, and rolls, has the easiest dunk of his life on the other end, just barely yams it down. And then he can also do it on the defensive end. William Kyle, not even on your screen. He plays help defense to get over to that one, gets the block, and then in transition, Syracuse has an easy dunk on the other end. And then one more time on the glass, Starling, a bad shot, gets up there, bodies out, gets the slam. That's the type of stuff that Will Kyle can do on a basketball court. That's probably why he's going to be an NBA draft pick.
What impresses me about William Kyle is that he plays above his size. That's exactly why I like Trayvon Spiller for Wake Forest. We talked about the matchup nightmare that Juke Harris gives opponents. Well, let's look at Trayvon Spiller. A guy that has the instincts defensively, but how about offensively? He's 6'8", and he's taking it in transition 1-on-3. Fearlessness, pick up your dribble, soar to the cup, and a tough two-handed finish. Trayvon Spiller does a lot of the things that William Kyle does well. I think this will be a fascinating matchup. All right, William Kyle and Trayvon Spiller about to battle it out in the paint, and we'll let you know our keys and our predictions after this short break. John, Nick, and I.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Closing up shop here live on Cuse Countdown. Nicholas Waley, John Boccio, and Adam Hipsky with you. We're at the business end of the season. That means ACC tournament is certainly firm on the minds of everybody. Let's take a look at what the bracket looks like at the moment. As you can see over here, Syracuse going into the game are the 13 seed. They would go up against Stanford in the first round. Wake Forest down at the 14 seed at the moment. It's very nip and tuck.
Yeah, exactly. This is toss and go when it comes to Syracuse and Wake Forest, two teams that are very thin margins of bad, I guess is the way that I would put it. Syracuse is probably going to win its first round matchup if it matches up against a bottom 12 team, but it does depend on who that bottom tier team is, because if they go against a team like Florida State in the first round, who's going to be the 10 seed around there, that's going to get tough.
It's going to be certainly an interesting game today, Syracuse and Wake Forest. Quickly, John, what are your keys to the game?
The key to the game is stay feisty on defense. Wake Forest is a middle-of-the-table offense. If you can really get at them as much as possible, that's where Syracuse can win this game.
Yeah, Orange have to win the backcourt battle. When Syracuse is at its best, it's when they get the good version of Nate George and J.J. Starling. So if the Orange can outlast the Demon Deacons in the guard category, I like Syracuse's chances.
All right, John, what is your prediction for this one?
Prediction, I'm going to say 78-74 Wake Forest.
Wake Forest 67-60. We've talked about, I think the main thing it comes down to is Syracuse is on the road and the Orange have struggled mightily away from the Dome. They've struggled in a lot of areas, but especially when they get out of familiar territory. So I've got Wake Forest picking up a big late season ACC win.
Well, just like last time that you and I were on Cuse Countdown, I'm going to be the different one. I'm going to say Syracuse get this one, 65-64. It's okay to be the contrary.
Yeah, why not?
This one, you know, who knows? It's surely going to be an interesting one. Syracuse and Wake Forest, the 16th all-time meeting between these two ACC I won't even say rivals, but Syracuse playing the third North Carolina team in a row. Certainly going to be interesting. But thank you so much for joining us on Cuse Countdown Live. For John Boccio, for Adam Hipsky, for our producer Landon Stilz, and our entire Cuse Countdown crew, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to join all of us except you, Hipsky. Ben Chadwick will join us on OPP later on. Should be a fascinating one. Enjoy the game. For Nicholas Waley, John Boccio, and Adam Hipsky, have a good one, everyone. Enjoy it.